The Calgary Police Service has 2 men in custody following a sexual assault in the city's northeast. At approximately 11:30 p.m. on Friday, November 14th, a 17-year-old girl was in the community of Taradale when she was approached by 2 men. The men attacked this young female and dragged her to a nearby alley where she was sexually assaulted. The suspects then forced the victim to a northeast home where she was repeatedly sexually assaulted before being able to escape the home on Saturday morning. Police were called at approximately 9 a.m. on Saturday, and investigators were able to identify the home and arrange for warrants in this case. This morning, at Sunday, November 16th, 3 men from the home were taken into custody and are currently being interviewed in connection with this sexual assault. At this time, no charges have been laid. Therefore, the names of these men in custody will not be released. Charges in the case are pending, and further details will be released when they become available.
Can you tell us a little bit more about how she was able to escape and what happened after?
She was able to take the opportunity when they weren't paying attention and get away from the home.
And how's she doing?
Difficult question. She's being cared for, and obviously in a circumstance like this is a very traumatic incident, and we'll make sure that she's got supports in place to deal with this.
Was she in hospital at all?
She was treated, but has been released.
So sexual assault, no physical assault?
There was a physical assault as well, yes.
And are these suspects known to her, or?
No, they are not.
What's most disturbing about this case?
This case is very disturbing in the sense that, a young girl has been attacked, and these people were unknown to her. Anytime a situation like this occurs, it's a very traumatic incident. So I would suggest that everything is pretty disturbing about it.
So just to clarify, there were 3 people from the home that were taken in, and 2 of them are suspects, part of it, or just to clarify?
Yeah, so there are 2 offenders that we are currently looking at, and the 3rd individual from the residence is being treated at this point in time in the investigation as a potential witness. But as the investigation goes on, that may change.
And all 3 gentlemen live in the house?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Roughly what time did she escape, and did she go to a neighbor's house or to family?
She went to family, and family brought her to 5 District Office.
So roughly what time did she escape the house?
My understanding is it's around 8 a.m. in the morning.
And what was she doing before those men assaulted her in the alley?
She was waiting at the bus stop.
Is there any kind of, are you guys looking into the possibility that these suspects could be connected to the other unsolved sexual assault from last week?
We will always take the opportunity to cross-reference investigations and determine that that's not the case. Currently, at this point in the investigation, we do not believe that they're related.
We hear of cases sometimes where someone is abducted and then used as a prostitute. Is there indications that she was assaulted by anyone outside of these 2?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Do they have a history with police?
I can say that one of the individuals does have a history with the police, yes.
Are they related at all? The suspects?
The suspects are brothers.
And do you have an age range for them, 20s, 30s?
They're in their 20s.
The one with the history with police, is it for sex-related crimes?
There are several offenses that he's known to police for. I can't speak to whether or not they're sexual in nature.
Any kind of timeline on when you expect to lay charges? Will we hear about that today?
Likely not today. We're hoping that we'll be able to provide further updates tomorrow at some point in time.
Other than sexual assault, what other charges are pending? Like, is there abduction charges and confinement or anything like that?
Those would certainly all be considered in this case.
Can you tell us what exact bus shelter she was at when she was?
I can tell you the intersection she was at. So she was at Taradale Drive by Terra Cove Road Northeast.
Was she threatened with any type of weapon at all?
I can say that there was a weapon involved, but I won't be able to say anything more until the investigation's complete. I would like to stress that from the assaults took place at 2 separate locations. So the first location was the Taradale address, and then she was taken to a residence in a nearby community. she was walked to that location. So obviously, if there's any witnesses who may have seen something that appeared out of the ordinary, I will stress that the victim was not impaired when this took place. However, she was forcibly taken from the one address to the other, which would potentially have somebody who may have seen this think that perhaps she was impaired and needed to be assisted in walking.
Where was the second address? Can you give us the cross streets?
I cannot. I can just tell you that it was in a.
Whatever 100 block of?
I can just tell you that it was in a neighboring community.
The third man that was taken in for interviewing, is
Yes.
he also related to the two brothers?
I believe he is. Yes.
Is he a brother as well?
No.
or- But a
Father?
relative of,
I believe he's a father, but I have not confirmed that.
and they're both in their 20s, you said?
The brothers are in their 20s. Yes.
And at the bus shelter, she was taken to an alley nearby, or was it right at the bus shelter?
The bus shelter and the alley are in close proximity, so right there essentially.
Is there any indication that, I know they weren't known to each other, but that it was targeted in the sense that they, were out looking to do something like this, or was it just completely random?
That is not known at this point in time. The hope will be that we'll be able to gain some more information as continued interviews take place.
Was there any concern by parents that night, a daughter had left and she didn't return home or all night or hadn't heard from her? Was there any kind of concern throughout the night?
I cannot speak to that at this point.
Was she reported missing?
I cannot speak to that either.
Any details on the injuries of the young girl?
I can say that there was concern of a concussion, and that's all that I'll be able to say at this point.
Normally, we're able to get sort of not the exact address, but a location. Can you say why you're not releasing that at this time? I just think it might help if you're looking for witnesses, if we could say, sort of these blocks you may have seen her.
So the reason for us not disclosing the location at this point is because there's several different investigative steps taking place right now, and so in order to allow those to take place, like I said, as soon as we have that information, obviously we'll make that information available.
Just to be clear, when it says in the release that you pinpointed, was that based on her recollection of where the house was? How were you able to determine where the house was?
Several investigative steps took place. Obviously, the information she provided, and then the investigative steps that the detectives would have taken to make those inquiries.
Are the suspects being cooperative?
That I don't know at this point.
Was the weapon they had used to walk her from, is that how they were able to get her to go with them?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Okay, and was she injured at all by the weapon, or was it just
Yes.
a threat?
Yes.
She was injured
Yes.
by the weapon?
Yes.
There was a sexual assault, obviously at Bridgeland LRT a week or two ago.
Mhm.
Is there a concern now that these are happening, not even that late at night, in pretty safe communities?
There's always a concern when members of the public are injured or put in harm's way, but for the most part, Calgary is a very safe place to live, and I think that we always encourage people to be mindful of their surroundings and travel in well-lit areas and take those precautions. So I think if people are just aware of their surroundings, that's an important message.